Welcome back to the deep dive. I was looking at the jobs report this morning, and honestly, it's just confusing. We have this really strange mix in 2026 where, inflation is technically cooling, according to the Fed, but my rent hasn't gone down. And the operating costs for businesses just seem to be climbing every single quarter. It feels like we're in a vice.
It is a really weird, tough spot to be in. You're absolutely right. The macro numbers say one thing, stability, but the micro reality for, say, a local business owner is totally different. It's an economic squeeze.
That is the exact term from the source material we're covering today. We're looking at this whole stack of documents from Voxel Micro Video Labs by Donn Allan Experience. And they paint a pretty vivid, almost stressful picture of what it takes to survive right now. We've got flat job growth, median rents staying stubbornly high, and all this pressure on margins.
Exactly. And when you look at those factors, flat growth, high costs, the margin for error for a small business, it just disappears. In 2020 or 2021, you could sort of throw money at marketing and see what stuck. In 2026, efficiency is everything. The sources are really clear. If you aren't moving fast, you aren't just losing opportunities, you're losing viability.
Right, and that leads us to the core theme of this deep dive. The sources describe speed as a secret weapon. But I have to be honest, when I hear speed in marketing, I usually think of sloppy work. Just churning out noise.
And that's the danger. But the sources here are talking about something very specific. They're talking about newsjacking.
Newsjacking. It sounds a bit aggressive, doesn't it? Like you're stealing the spotlight? Is that the vibe?
It sounds aggressive, but I think the sources frame it as being like defensively aggressive. It's the art of injecting your brand into a breaking news story to gain immediate authority. It's not about hijacking the news for vanity. It's about hijacking the attention the news already created to protect or inform your clients. But here's the catch, and this is why your point about sloppy work is so valid. You can't do it if you're slow, but you also can't do it if you look amateur.
So you need to be fast and premium. That feels like a paradox. Usually you have to pick two: fast, good, or cheap.
Precisely. And that is where Voxel Micro Video Labs comes in. They're based in San Pedro, and they have this concept called the Microlab model. Their whole pitch is literally Hollywood quality at South Bay speed. And honestly, looking at the specs, it seems like they've engineered an entire physical space just to solve that paradox you just mentioned.
Okay, let's test that. Because I'm a little skeptical that a physical studio can change the speed of content that much. We aren't just talking about the studio today. We're going to walk through the entire workflow. How does a business owner turn 1 hour of work into weeks of content? And how does this specific infrastructure, things like dry acoustics and auto framing, actually make that possible?
We really need to break this down.
Let's start with segment 1, the infrastructure of speed. The sources make a huge comparison here between the old way and the Voxel way. But let me play devil's advocate. Why can't I just use my iPhone? Or book the local studio downtown if I need to look fancy?
You can, but just look at the logistics. The old way is basically built on friction. As the breaking news happens, the Fed raises rates. You want to look professional, so you call the traditional studio. They're booked until Tuesday.
So you're already 3 days late.
Right. Then you have to hire a videographer. That's what, $800 for a half day? Then you record. Then you have to transfer these huge files. Then someone has to sync the audio, color grade it. The old way creates like a 5-day lag between the event and your content. By the time you publish, the news cycle is over.
It's obsolete. Yeah. Nobody cares about the Fed rate hike 5 days later.
Exactly. And the cost is prohibitive. The source material mentions that Voxel's automated model saves up to 80% compared to a traditional studio. That 80% isn't just money. It represents agility. If it costs you $2,000 to shoot a video, you only do it once a quarter. If it costs a fraction of that, you can do it every time the news breaks.
Okay, so the cost barrier is lowered. I get that. But let's talk about the environment. The sources describe the Voxel studio in San Pedro very specifically. It's not a cold, sterile warehouse, and it's not some dusty, historic 1922 building. They keep talking about the vibe.
The vibe is functional because trust is visual. When you're newsjacking, when you're trying to tell your clients, hey, don't panic about this new law, you need to look authoritative immediately. You don't have time to build rapport over 10 minutes. That visual authority has to be instant. If you're shooting on an iPhone in your car, subconsciously, the viewer thinks this is just some guy. If you're in a studio that looks like a broadcast environment, the viewer thinks this is an expert.
So the background is doing the heavy lifting for you.
Exactly. But let's look at the technical side, because this is where it gets really interesting for me. The lighting and the audio. The lighting is described as auto framing.
Which means what? No setup time.
0. In a traditional shoot, you might spend an hour tweaking lights, moving stands, checking shadows. Here, it's designed to be visually ready for algorithmic distribution immediately. You walk in, you sit down, you look good.
But the detail that really stuck out to me, and I need you to explain this because the sources were very specific about it, is the audio. They use dry acoustics.
Yes, this is crucial.
Now, usually when I hear about studio audio, I just think, okay, it sounds crisp, no echoes. But the experts at Voxel say this is crucial for a different reason. Why does dry audio matter so much in 2026?
It's not just for human ears. It's for the AI.
The AI, you mean for generating transcripts?
Exactly. This is the bottleneck in most production workflows that people completely miss. Think about how AI hears. It's looking for phonemes, the little distinct sounds that make up words. If you have an echoey room or background noise or what we call reverb, that sound bounces off the walls. To a human, it just sounds like a room. But to an AI transcription engine, that reverb blurs the phones. It muddies the signal.
So the AI can't tell a T from a D because the sound is smearing together.
Precisely. It creates what we call hallucinations in the text. And if the transcript has mistakes, you, the human, have to manually go in and fix them. That takes time. It breaks the whole workflow. Dry acoustics means the sound is dead flat and perfectly clean. That allows the AI tools to ingest the content instantly without a single error.
So the room itself is engineered to talk to the software.
It is. It's a hardware solution to a software problem. That dry acoustic profile is the only reason you can turn a video around in an hour. If you had to edit the transcript, you'd lose that entire speed advantage.
That is fascinating. It's like the room is part of the algorithm.
It effectively is.
Okay, so we have the space, we have the vibe, the lights, and this AI-ready dry audio. Now let's talk strategy. Segment 2, the step-by-step newsjacking plan. Because having a studio is great, but if you don't know what to say, it's useless. How does a business owner actually use this?
Right, so let's break down the Voxel method. Phase 1 is the trigger, market monitoring.
This sounds like stock trading.
It's similar. You are constantly monitoring for headlines that cause anxiety or confusion in your customer base.
Give me an example.
A sudden change in housing regulations or new inflation data. But there's a trap here. Most businesses see the headline and they think, I need to write the perfect white paper about this. By the time they verify every citation, 3 days have passed. The Voxel way suggests that speed is the primary quality of authority in a crisis. You aren't trying to be the encyclopedia. You're trying to be the first responder. You're looking for the anxiety trigger, that specific moment where your client thinks, am I in trouble?
So the moment your phone starts ringing, that's the trigger.
Yes. And because of that 80% cost savings we mentioned, you can book a session spontaneously. You don't wait for your monthly content day. You go to San Pedro that afternoon.
And that leads to phase 2, the rapid recording.
You head into the Microlab. You record a 20 to 30-minute deep dive reaction to the news. And this is where we have to talk about visual anchoring.
Oh, this is from that Finchley source, mirror neurons.
Yes, this is deep psychology. The source material explains that seeing the host's face, seeing them laugh, or show empathy, or just stay calm, it triggers a stronger emotional response than audio or text alone. It creates a parasocial bond. When people are anxious about a news, they don't just want information. They want to see you staying calm. They need to borrow your confidence.
That makes so much sense. Text feels distant. A face feels immediate. But what if I'm terrible on camera? What if I freeze up?
Well, that's where the vibe comes back in. The studio is designed to be comfortable, almost conversational. And remember, you aren't acting. You're just answering the questions your clients are already asking you. You're just doing it once, for everyone.
Okay, so I've recorded my 20 minutes. I've explained the news. Now what?
Phase 3, the AI content engine. This is where the magic happens. You've recorded your 20-minute take. The dry acoustic audio is fed into the AI tools.
And because it's clean, the transcript is perfect, instantly.
Right. And then the system slices that long-form video into high-velocity vertical video, that 9:16 format for TikTok and Reels.
So you walk in with an idea, record for 30 minutes, and you walk out with what?
You walk out with weeks of content. You have the long-form video for YouTube to capture search traffic. You have the vertical clips for social media discovery. You have the transcript for a LinkedIn article or a blog post. You have effectively turned 1 hour of work into a comprehensive media blitz.
And you did it while the news was still news.
That is the entire key, South Bay speed.
Let's make this concrete. Segment 3, tailored industry scenarios. I want to tell a story here because lists can be boring. Let's look at the real estate scenario because that market in the South Bay is just brutal right now.
It is. So imagine it's Wednesday. The FIG drops a report saying interest rates are holding steady, but median rents in Torrance just spiked again.
Okay, so if I'm a buyer, I'm panicking. I'm thinking, I missed the boat. I'll never afford a home.
Right, they're doom scrolling. Now, the average agent, let's call an agent old school, he sees the news. He thinks, I should let my clients know. He starts drafting an email newsletter. He creates a graphic in Canva. He proofreads it. He schedules it for Friday morning.
And honestly, nobody reads the newsletter on Friday. It goes straight to the promotions tab.
Exactly. Or they just skim it. But the newsjacking agent using Voxel, they see the report on Wednesday morning. They drive to the studio at 1 p.m. They record a video titled, Why High Rents in Torrance Actually Help You Buy in 2026.
Ooh, that's a hook.
They validate the fear. They explain the strategy. They look into the camera with that visual authority. They post it to Instagram Reels and TikTok by 4 p.m. that same Wednesday.
So while Agent Old School is still picking a font for his email, the Voxel agent is on your phone screen explaining the situation face to face.
They have become the immediate authority. When that buyer opens TikTok that night, there is their agent, looking calm, sounding crisp. That agent just won the trust battle before the other guy even opened his laptop.
I love that. Let's do another one. Scenario B, the financial advisor or CPA.
This one is perfect for that inflation angle mentioned in the Voxel source. Let's say new data comes out showing pressure on the cost of doing business.
Every single small business owner is freaking out. They're thinking about payroll.
Exactly. So the CPA records 3 ways South Bay businesses can handle the new inflation numbers.
Practical, actionable, love it.
And here's the win. They use the AI transcription to generate a detailed LinkedIn article from that video. Simultaneously, they put the vertical video on YouTube Shorts. They are capturing the search traffic from worried business owners that specific day.
It's about being the first helpful voice they find.
Precisely.
Okay, one more. Scenario C, the local attorney. This one feels the hardest because, let's be honest, the law is boring.
It is boring, but it's high stakes. Let's say there's a change in local labor laws. That's complex. It's scary for employers.
And dangerous if they get it wrong.
Incredibly dangerous. But if the attorney sits in that professional studio using the vibe to look authoritative, not like they're in a messy home office, they can break it down. And the win here is slicing. They take that 20-minute explanation and slice it into 5 separate Q&A clips for TikTok. Does this affect overtime? What about contractors?
So they answer the specific questions people are typing into the search bar.
Exactly. And again, they do it immediately.
It really highlights how this isn't just about making videos. It's about a workflow that respects the speed of information.
It connects right back to that quote from the intro. Efficiency is everything.
Now, I know some listeners might be thinking, okay, but video is hard. Is it really worth it? Segment 4, the data. I want to circle back to one number you had in the notes, 95%.
The retention rate. This is the metric that should keep business owners up at night. Viewers retain 95% of a message in video.
Compare that to text.
The retention rate for text is 10%.
Wow. So if I send a newsletter, they remember 10% of it. I'm basically wasting 90% of my effort.
Essentially, yes. If you send a text update, your client has effectively forgotten you existed 10 minutes later. Video anchors the memory. It's physiological. We are wired to remember faces and voices. So ignoring video isn't just a marketing choice. It's a decision to be forgotten by 90% of your audience.
That is a massive difference. But, and here is the friction point, video is expensive. The sources acknowledge this cost of attention.
Right. The Finchley report notes that video usually costs 77% more per hour of attention to produce than audio only. That's the barrier. That's why small businesses haven't done it.
It's too expensive and it's too hard.
It was. But this is the synthesis point. This is why the Voxel model is so disruptive. By automating the environment, the lights, the dry acoustics, the AI, they are lowering that cost barrier. They are allowing small businesses to access those high retention formats, that 95% retention, without paying the 77% premium.
That is the aha moment right there. It's democratizing the retention rates of Hollywood.
Exactly. And we haven't even touched on discoverability. YouTube is now the #1 platform for podcast consumption. 31% of listeners. It beats Spotify. It beats Apple. If you aren't on video, you are invisible on the world's biggest search engine for content.
And the vertical integration.
Crucial. Creators who format for vertical first shorts and reels see a 44% increase in mobile watch time. It's not just a trend. It's how the device in your pocket works.
So if you're ignoring video, you're basically ignoring half your audience and 90% of their attention span.
That is a fair, if brutal, summary.
So let's bring this all home. What does this mean for the listener right now?
Well, let's recap the system. Voxel Micro Video Labs allows for Hollywood quality at South Bay speed. It combines a physical space, the San Pedro studio, the dry acoustics, the lighting, with a workflow, the AI transcription, the vertical slicing.
And the goal is newsjacking.
The goal is to survive the 2026 economy. Being fast isn't a luxury anymore. As the source said, the agile always beat the big.
It's not about having the biggest marketing budget. It's about having the fastest reaction time.
Correct.
I want to leave you with a thought to mull over. We've talked a lot about speed and authority, so think about your competitor. Imagine something happens in your industry tomorrow morning. By lunch, your competitor has released a high-quality, authoritative video explaining exactly what it means for your customers. You, meanwhile, are just sitting down to draft an email that won't go out until Thursday.
The question is, in that gap between their video and your email, where did your authority go?
Exactly. How long until your authority actually expires? That is the deep dive for today. Thanks for listening, and we'll catch you next time.
See you then.